Hello, this is AstrologerCoach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming new moon in almost 12 degrees of Libra on October 4th at 8:35 p.m. East Coast time in the US, which is also New York time, or 5:35 p.m. West Coast time in the US, which is also LA time. Now, the new moon is always a new moon cycle for the coming months where we're tapping into a new energy. It's also a fantastic time to set some intentions, and we talk about this in a little bit more detail at the end of the video. But it's also very much about tapping into our intuition, because we're really needing to tap into what are we sensing is the thing for us to do this month. Like, what are we wanting to connect to on an intuitive level? Now, with the Libra energy, that energy has a lot to do with harmony, with balance, with relationships. It's very much about, creating win-win situations with other people, having fair exchanges. For example, diplomatic negotiations would be part of that Libra energy. But definitely also, just being in a harmonious connection with other people. So the questions we can ask ourselves for this new moon is like, how can we have more balance in our lives? So this is not just with other people, but also within ourselves, like, where do we need to create more balance? Because when we have balance, that's when we can do our best, and that's when we can really find a way to make things work more fully. Now, the other question we can ask ourselves is, how can we create more peace and more harmony in our lives? And this would be within ourselves, but also around ourselves, with other people, with the situations around us. And this is definitely very much part of the Libra energies, that part of harmony and peace. So basically, with the Libra energy, what we see, or what we usually do, is we can see both sides of an argument, or we can see both sides of a situation. And so there's always a desire to do what's best for everybody involved, and create a win-win, find a middle path, also for ourselves, within ourselves. If we have two sides of ourselves that are fighting with each other, or that are not in harmony with each other, it's a good idea to see, like, how can we find a middle path so that these two energies within us can work with each other, and we can find a way to create more harmony internally. Of course, also, it's about seeing that everyone is equal. The Libra energy is very much about equality. So in order to create win-win situations with other people, we need to make sure that we see everyone as equal. Now, Venus, which is the ruler of Libra, is at this time of the new moon going to be in Scorpio. So with Venus in Scorpio at this time, we're being asked to go deeper. And Venus is very much connected to the heart chakra. So we're being invited to go deeper in our heart connections. But also, of course, Venus represents the feminine as well. So we're invited to also embrace some of our shadow parts, some of the parts of ourselves that we have disowned or suppressed, and in particular, of course, our inner feminine. So if there's anything that you would consider like an inner feminine energy that you feel like you have not fully integrated within yourself yet, this is the time to do that. This is the time for more integration, fuller integration, and to explore emotional depth within ourselves and with other people, with connecting to other people on a more fully emotional level. So the key here, of course, with this Venus in Scorpio, which can be a little bit intense sometimes, is to really open our hearts, to be wide open, because Scorpio, has the tendency to either hold on to stuff because it gets scared that something bad will happen, or it has the tendency to transform, right? So Scorpio has the ability to transform things that have felt kind of dark and kind of like suppressed, and bring them into the light, bring them from the shadow into the light. And by giving those energies light, you're also gaining more of yourself, and more inner strength and more inner power. So this Venus experience with this new moon is really about, open up, when fear shows up, open up more, because you want to integrate all of yourself so that you can feel more empowered from within, and tap into that inner strength. So really you want to just allow all the experiences that are coming up, allow them to come up, observe them, see them as something that's helping you to integrate other parts of yourselves. Now, the other big part of this new moon is that T-square that is being built between Pluto, Uranus, and the new moon. And whenever there is like a new moon or full moon in Cancer or Libra these days, we're getting this T-square or grand cross with Pluto and Uranus, because Pluto and Uranus are squaring each other right now in the sky, and that will be the case until 2015. So the universe is definitely giving us a very clear message that we are in a phase of our lives as human beings where we need to step up, where we need to grow, where we need to really stretch ourselves on a global level, on a collective level, but also on an individual level. And whenever there's a month where there is a T-square or grand cross that shows up, we are getting the opportunity to grow even more, to stretch even more. And so this is really how you want to view this. You want to view this as an opportunity of growth. And so this T-square is really forcing us to address long-standing issues of imbalances and injustices that we've experienced or that we're still experiencing. And so, this is really something that we can address right now. So there's always an invitation with a T-square, and with this particular T-square as well, to stay very flexible, to stay open, to make changes and adjustments that are necessary in our lives, and to also be open to feedback from other people, because the new moon is in Libra, so we want to connect to other people and to those relationships. Now, if there is a power struggle that shows up, which could be possible because Pluto is in the mix with this T-square, then we need to really look to see, instead of shutting down and getting fearful or closing ourselves off, to find creative win-win situations between us and the situation or the person that this power struggle comes up with. Because only through creating win-win situations we can actually overcome that power struggle, and we can actually grow as a human being, and we can learn to face and accept and transform the parts of ourselves that still need to grow. Because life is it's a growing process. It's always about growing, right? So if we're not willing to grow, we're just not going to really fully live, and we're also not fully able to integrate all of ourselves and have a fuller experience in life, and ultimately a more satisfying experience, of course. Now, again, with the T-square, or with this particular T-square, what we also want to look out for is self-care. We want to make sure that we rest enough, that we take care of our emotional state, that we're able to pamper ourselves as well. Because there's a part of us that's going to be really stretched into many different directions. With this T-square, it will be a challenge. We're definitely being pulled. So it's very important to also make sure that we get that time where we can really retreat from the world and pamper ourselves and be good to ourselves, and get what we need on an emotional level as well. Now, the other thing with this T-square is, if there is fear showing up, if there is uncertainty showing up, which could be the case, because whenever you start to grow and stretch yourself, you feel a little bit scared because you haven't been there before. It's like a new place that you're going and allowing yourself to go. So it's important when fear shows up, focus on what you feel passionate about. Focus on something that's meaningful to you in this process. Focus on being excited that you're growing, that you're evolving. That can be very helpful. And of course, I always say with a T-square or grand cross, take it one moment at a time. There's no rush. You don't have to, jump a million years ahead. Just one day at a time is all good. And also, allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Because if we can't allow ourselves to be uncomfortable just for 1 second, we're not going to be growing. We're not going to be learning anything new, because we're always going to shy away from going to the places that help us grow, to the new explorations, to the new places where we feel a little bit uncomfortable and not quite yet secure in what we're doing. So if you can allow yourself to be uncomfortable, you have a really great chance of growing, and you have a really great chance of being successful at what you're trying to go after. There's one other aspect with this new moon, which is Jupiter is making a square to the new moon as well. So we definitely need to make sure that we can manage taking care of ourselves on an emotional level and connecting to other people in a harmonious, equal way. That would be, and also not to overextend, not to overstretch, not to overextend ourselves with other people, because with Jupiter in Cancer, there's sometimes that sense that we want to help other people, we want to be there for other people, we want to nurture other people. But if you don't nurture yourself first, then you have nothing left to give to someone else. So you always make sure your glass is full before you give to somebody else. Always make sure your plate's full before you feed somebody else. So that way you don't burn the candles on both ends, right? So what would be the message for this new moon if there was like one clear message? I would say it would be, keep investigating and keep addressing deeper issues around, relationships, deeper issues around the feminine. Look to see how can you create more love and balance in your life, and also look to see, where are you being challenged to have a new perspective on something in your life, and see if you can, open up so that you can have a new perspective and learn something new. So the one last thing I want to say is that it is always our greatest gifts as human beings that we're able to reinvent ourselves, that we're able to grow. This is really our biggest gifts. So this is really the month for you to honor that gift and to reinvent yourself and to really grow and stretch. All right. Now, if you have 10 to 14 degrees of Libra, Cancer, Scorpio, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, and Aries in your natal chart, so any personal planets or personal points, like the ascendant or the career point, which is the MC, or your Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, or Mars, if any of those are in 10 to 14 degrees of those signs, then you definitely feel this new moon more strongly. But of course, all of us will feel it somewhere in our chart, so feel free to reach out if you need support with understanding that more fully. And like I promised earlier, I will talk a little bit more about the intentions. If you want to set intentions for this new moon and you want to make them powerful, think about all the things we talked about in the video. What is the Libra energy all about? And see how that resonates with you personally. Tap into your intuition, into your heart, and see how does that resonate with you personally, and what would you like to intend for this month. And always put the intentions in a present tense, and in something that's concrete, something that's that you also believe is possible for yourself. And the best time to set intentions for this particular new moon is October 4th, 8:36 p.m. until October 5th at 6:28 p.m. And the reason being is that we don't want to set the intentions before the new moon is exact, and we also don't want to set the new moon intentions during a moon void, of course. So those are the times where the new moon intentions are most powerful. If you don't know exactly when the moon void of course phases take place, feel free to go to my website and check my weekly forecast every Sunday night to see what's coming up for the next week in terms of moon void of course phases. But you can also go to my Facebook fan page and see on a daily basis I post daily postings for you to see what's going on the next day. So my website is AstrologerCoach.com /blog for the weekly forecasts, and my Facebook fan page is AstrologerCoach.SonjaFrancis. And if you want to email me, if you have any questions, it's Sonja@AstrologerCoach.com. That's SONJA@AstrologerCoach.com. And the last thing I want to say is I do have a basics course coming up in November. So if any of you are interested in dabbling a little bit more into astrology and really understand your birth chart more fully, feel free to check out my website at astrologercoach.com /online-courses.html. And I will also have links to all those websites at the bottom of this video. But there will be a special, an early bird special for this course until October 30th. So I just wanted to mention that in case you are interested, go to my website and check out that course before October 30th so you can get the discount. Okay, so have a fantastic new moon. I hope you'll be able to really tap into your intuition to see what you need to be creating for this next 28 days. And this is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Goodbye.